Welcome to the first save of Football Manager 25. Never mind. Let me start again. Welcome to the final save of Football Manager 2024. As we all know by now, Football Manager 25 has been delayed until March, a full 5 months away. Plenty of time to get stuck into a new challenge. I'll be honest, I was kind of done with FM24. I've had 2 good saves this year, with Tokyo Verdy and Manchester United, plus a mini-series with England during the Euros. With the United save coming to a natural end though, I plan to use the time between now and FM25 to put out a couple more videos, try to learn more about making them, and plan how my year with FM25 would look. Instead, I've now had to have a think about how I want the first 5 months of the channel to look now that we've had this news. I wasn't really sure what sort of save I wanted to play to fill the void. I'm a fairly slow Football Manager player, so a massive challenge that requires a lot of seasons just wasn't viable. Instead, I turned to a more medium-term challenge, a mid-table side in a good but not top 5 European league. Boavista immediately jumped out as a strong option, although there's only really one reason for it. I remember them facing Manchester United in the Champions League back in the 2001-2002 season. There are a few teams that stick in my mind from that era. The likes of Bromby, Sturm Graz and Fiorentina were all also considered, but something about that black and white checkered shirt just drew me in. In that 2001-2002 campaign, Boavista finished second to Liverpool in the first group stage. Remember the days of 2 group stages? Before being drawn with Manchester United, Nantes and Bayern Munich in the second group stage. Boavista finished third, crashing out of the competition, and haven't returned to Europe's elite since. So the task is simple. We're going to try and win Boavista just their second Primeira Liga by overthrowing the big 3 of Porto, Sporting and Benfica, and then try to build a side capable of competing on the continent. Before we take a look around, there's a little admin to get out of the way first. I've decided against waiting for an updated database, so I'll be playing on the official winter update from SI. I am, however, using Dave Insid's increased realism mega pack, which I will link down in the description below. I'll also link the skin and graphics packs I use, should you wish to check them out. I'm playing the save on real world mode, meaning that I'll have the added realism of also reacting to incomings and departures as they happened in real life. Boavista are currently the very definition of a mid-table team, having re-established themselves in the top division after being relegated in 2008 for their part in a match-fixing scandal. Since being restored to the top flight in 2014, they've been mediocre at best, with the highest finish of 8th in the last decade. The peak of their powers was at the turn of the millennium, with finishes of 2nd, 4th, 1st and 2nd in consecutive seasons from 1998 to 2002. This of course sealed them their first, and so far only, top flight title in 2000-2001, and their aforementioned Champions League run. They play their home games at the 30,000 capacity Estadio da Bessa in Porto, and hold a fierce local rivalry with FC Porto, as well as other rivalries with Vitória Guimarães, Sporting, Benfica and Belenenses. They also start the save with a global transfer ban until January 2024, meaning that I'm stuck with the current squad for at least the first half of Season 1. Given the financial situation at the club, this could be longer though. Considering there are only 34 players at the club in total across the first team, under-19s and under-19Bs, which, by the way, is a setup that I have never ever seen before, and 6 of them already have deals to leave agreed, this could be the ultimate test of my pragmatic approach until we can bring some players in. An early look at the squad shows that there is definitely some talent to work with, but it comes primarily in defensive areas. Starting in goal, João Gonçalves will be looking to have a successful breakout campaign, as his more experienced counterpart Cesar is out for 10 months with a cruciate ligament injury. Gonçalves has a lot to like about him. His basics as a goalkeeper are excellent, with good area reach, shot stopping ability and outstanding reflexes. There are obviously some areas to work on. His distribution isn't overly great, he can lack a bit of composure and decision making, and he isn't the most commanding of goalkeepers. Still, at 22 he has plenty of time to grow, and I'm excited to see how he does this year. Behind him, 18-year-old Luis Henrique looks to be an okay shot stopper with a bit of potential, but I wouldn't want to need to rely on him for long. Looking at the defence, we have 4 strong options at centre back, but Rodrigo Abascal and Chidozie Awaziem are likely to be the preferred partnership, assuming we use a back four. Abascal is a very well-rounded player, not necessarily a true ball player, but he can certainly hold his own, while his defensive fundamentals are all there. He's big, strong, good in the air, and has strong enough mentals for the level we're currently at. My favourite thing about Abascal though is that he's a natural left footer, which will be crucial for maintaining balance in the side. Awaziem is slightly weaker mentally than Abascal, but offers a little more physically and is also slightly better on the ball. Between them, I think we can have a really effective pairing at the heart of the defence. Behind them are Vincent Sasso and Bruno Onyemaechi, who can both also operate at fullback. In fact, Onyemaechi will probably play at left back primarily, at least to start off with. He's pretty well rounded, but I'm most impressed by his physicality. He's quick, strong and can run all day, but also offers the extra height and aerial ability that you'd expect from a player who also plays at centre back. Behind him we have Felipe Ferreira, the definition of an attacking fullback, and then youngster Julio Dabo. On the right there is more quality but less depth. Pedro Malheiro is arguably the best player at the club, and looks capable of completely dominating the right hand side of the pitch. Of course, we aren't a destination club, and it's inevitable that he will want to move on soon, which is a concern as Atletico Madrid are already interested. If we could hold out until January and then get in the region of 15 million for him, then we could do a lot of squad reshaping. Should he move on, or even pick up an injury, Sasso would be our only available right back and is a completely different profile of player, so a tactical shift would undoubtedly be needed. He's very much a centre back who can fill in at right back, so he would have to have a role that suits that. Moving into midfield, our strength again appears to be defensive. Captain Sebastian Perez looks like he'll be the anchor holding the side together, although he also possesses good quality on the ball that we could look to utilise. Gaius Makuta and Ibrahima Kamara both offer an excellent level of physicality and could both do well as runners joining the attack from deep. Ilya Vukotic offers some much needed creativity and could be a useful extra option, and depending on the tactic we settle on, I may even look to utilise Miguel Rosinho in the pivot, as he also offers that level of creativity, but also has the composure and enough defensive ability to be trusted in a deeper role. Moving further forward, we hit an immediate blow as our most talented youngster, winger Thiago Moraes, has agreed to leave the club and join Lille. We get to enjoy him until the end of January, but he's a player I would have loved to have built around. Instead, a lot of the attacking responsibility will fall on Bruno Lorenzo. He can play on either flank, but I see him more as a traditional number 10, as he doesn't really have the pace I would look for in a wide player. I do also like the look of him as a potential shadow striker, a role I've grown to love over the last couple of versions of Football Manager in particular. Out wide, we don't have a whole lot of options. Luis Santos is quick and agile, but very raw. He's a bit of a dribbly boy, but he doesn't have the level of crossing or off the ball I would ideally be looking for. If he was 18, then I'd be quite excited by him, but at 23 I can't say that he's ever going to be the one for me. Salvador Agra is a much better player, although at 31 I worry how much use we'll actually get from him. He's able to play on either wing, he's strong with both feet and he has a good eye for goal. He may need to find a way to provide goals consistently in order for us to have a successful season. Through the middle, we look like we have a lot of potential again, but possibly not a striker we can rely on for consistent goals just yet. Martin Tavares is the biggest talent, although not necessarily the best we have currently. He's pretty well rounded, a good finisher with decent mentals, a bit of pace, and also has a good frame and strength. Not too dissimilar though is Heriel DeSantis. He's a bit more of a physical threat than Tavares, with a far better jumping reach. He's also a strong finisher, but his movement is maybe not so strong, meaning we probably need to have runners around him rather than relying on him to create chances for himself. Luckily, there is a deal in place for one incoming signing. I'm not sure how, considering the transfer ban, but Robert Bozinic will be joining the club, having been here on loan last season. He only scored 4 goals in 24 games, but I'm confident that he has the profile to be a good striker for us. Although I don't have full information on his attributes yet, from what we can see of him he looks more like DeSantis than Tavares in terms of profile, but offers an upgrade on both. He's a natural finisher but is also bigger, better in the air and mentally stronger than the strikers we already have. Lastly, let's take a look at the staffing situation. It's bleak, to say the least. On the coaching staff we have myself, Jorge Couto, my new assistant, Head of Youth Development Hugo Pacheco, Pedro Correa, who is a goalkeeping coach, and the sole performance analyst in Pedro Sousa. All of them are good enough to be retained for now, but there are a couple of huge gaps in the team. At a bare minimum, we need a couple of general coaches, and I'd quite like to hire a set-piece coach too. I hear they're all the rage these days. It gets even worse when we look at the recruitment team. Not a single scout. Maybe they all left when they realised their work would be in vain throughout a transfer ban, but at present we aren't going to be able to identify a pool of talent for when we are able to dip our toes back into the market. To clarify, I don't like to just pick and choose from the player search screen. I prefer to use recruitment foci and agent offers to source talent, plus setting scouting missions for players I feel I'd realistically be aware of within the game world. I need to hire some scouts as a matter of urgency, as only then can I start to look at potential options to offer depth and quality to a squad that desperately needs it. The medical team isn't as bad and can probably carry on as they are for now. Ideally, I'd like to fill the remaining positions to flesh out the team, but as I'm already worried about the finances, this is very much a last priority from a staffing perspective. So, plenty of work to do, but I'm excited to get stuck in. If you've enjoyed this first look at Boavista and you're excited for the series, why not drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Until next time.